Hey everybody, welcome back to The Stuff of Legend. My name is D'Lo and I have another video for you today. Now, I have to give you guys a fair warning. There will be plenty of spoilers for Mandalorian Season 2, specifically all the way up to Episode 5. We're going to be talking about a lot of details, so if you haven't seen it, you might want to tune out. Now, just a heads up, this is the second time I'm giving this video a try because I had a power outage and it dropped all my power, so my stream completely died last time. Just 10 minutes ago, I just switched my screen so I could say hi to you guys. Hey, how's it going? It's good to be back. I am going to try to get through this quickly because I don't know if that's going to happen again. It'd be a huge bummer because I didn't even get to your live comments and it dropped my stream. So I'm super, well, it's not like the stream itself dropped. It was my power dropped. So I'm not even, so I'm super scared. All right, so I'm going to try to get through this as fast as possible, but we are going to try to solve the problem and the question. Who is Baby Yoda? Or now we know, spoiler alert, last warning, Grogu is his name. Grogu, the Baby Yoda, otherwise known as the child. Got him right here. I'll use picture reference in case you didn't know. The child, his name is Baby Yoda. We learned this in episode 5 of season 2, and he is looking for a master. His daddy, not real daddy, adopted daddy, Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, is trying to get him some help. Took him to go see Ahsoka, who we met in season 2, episode 5. And long story short, she basically said, listen, I sense much fear in you. I know what this does. It's extremely dangerous. I will not train the child. However, they had a really cool connection. She really likes him. She even called back to Master Yoda. And just it was super cool to see them all interacting together. She was very kind about it, and but she was like, look, I can't train you, but there is a way. If you, and then they did a mission together. Then afterwards, she's like, look, take him to the planet Tython. There's an ancient ruined Jedi temple there. Put him on the stone at the peak of the temple, and then from there it's super connected to the Force. If Grogu wants to be trained, he will call out with the Force and it will connect to a living Jedi if there is one. And so their next quest is to go to Tython and try to find a master to train Baby Yoda. So this is Tython we're talking about. So Tython, I'm going to go ahead and shift over so you guys can see it. Tython is from the Knights of the Old Republic game, and it's the first Jedi temple ever erected. And the forget the sequel trilogy. They said Oct 2 has the original Jedi temple, but I believe that's the original Jedi temple for the modern Jedi Order, not for the Old Republic Jedi Order. This temple on Tython is what's up. This is like the real one. This is not the stupid one from the sequel trilogy that they just tried to shoehorn and be like, you're the first one. It's like a different order. So it still is okay to say that, but it's a different Jedi Order. It's not this Jedi Order. So these guys were called the Jedi. I believe it was 2 I's, Jedii, the Jedi, and 2 I's instead of 1. So this orb here is at the top of so you go inside the temple and it's going to look something like this. Sorry, I'm not even showing you right now. There we go. All right, so now I'm cut over to my screen. So you guys can see the temple on Tython here from the Knights of the Old Republic. The Jedi Temple has these staircases. You go up on the side 2 ramps, and then there's this gigantic orb. I think this might be what they're talking about here. If not, there should be something way up on the top, but I believe it's here inside the temple. Okay, so inside the temple, you come up here, you can get on top of these stones. It's hyper connected to the Force. And if he goes up there, connects, it should send out a beacon to a living Jedi. And we know of a few that are alive, other than just Ahsoka. She's not a Jedi per se, but she was trained as a Jedi and left the Jedi Order. And then she learned how to operate in the world between worlds. She also learned about the Gray. I don't remember if she had a direct relationship with the Bendu itself, but she operates in the Gray. She lets the Force guide her, whether it be a little into the light, a little into the dark. I don't think she goes dark side at all. In fact, we've never seen that. I think she leans towards the light because of her training, but she is more balanced than most of the other Jedi you would see that are more rigid towards the order of the Jedi their way. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what's going on over here. So my first suggestion to the question, who is going to train Baby Yoda? Who's going to be Grogu's master? Who's going to train this homie? Now, in the episode, like I said, Ahsoka said that she would not train him because she sensed much fear in him. Just like she saw Anakin turn to the dark side because he had that personal connection, just like Grogu has with Daddy Din Djarin. I got my pop here. And she's worried about that, obviously. But I think she may change her tune once he connects with the light side of the Force, if he connects with the light side of the Force. So if, like, for instance, Grogu's at the top of the temple, he calls out to the Force, that'll send out a beacon. And if the Force chooses Ahsoka, then I think she may be swayed to either change her mind or give him a second chance and be like, let's just see if we can. Hesitantly, obviously, but maybe that's the exploration into the Jedi, the gray Jedi. Maybe there becomes a gray Jedi order. That'd be kind of nice. And so yeah, so that's one option, is that she may or may not change her mind, because she said with her own words she was not going to train Grogu, with good reason. But the other half of that coin is what I'm going to mention next time. Oh wait, I wanted to show you before I go to the next one. Rosario Dawson. So one of the reasons why I do so much fan casting on the channel, you can check my page. I've got a ton of videos. I'm doing some this week, next week. I'm doing them all the time. Boss Logic, the artist, on Instagram, Twitter, social media, speak it into existence. He did this art of Rosario Dawson as adult Ahsoka Tano. Rosario Dawson was like, yes, please, because she saw it. And she said, hashtag Ahsoka Tano. And that's actually how she got the role, was through this. And that's the same way that Joe Manganiello got the role of Deathstroke in Zack Snyder's Justice League, was that Warner Bros. Saw the art that was going viral from Boss Logic doing Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke, and then they gave him the role. So fan casting is bigger than just, I'm just doing a cool art. No, if it looks good, if it makes sense, then casting directors see that too, and studio directors see that too. And then they will go, hey, I'm going to reach out to that actor who I happen to have a personal relationship with and see if they want the role, because fans really like this and it makes sense. So I'm not saying fans should always get what they want, but some fans are more intuitive than others. And I think that Boss Logic has a good eye for it. Frankly, I think I tend to understand the characters pretty well. I mean, this is kind of what I do. So I like to do fan casting, particularly for the characters that I feel an affinity for. And then also ones that I have an eye, I've seen, oh my gosh, this actor would be perfect for that. Or if I have like 5, 10, or 15 actors that I'm like, these guys kind of fit within that niche. Let me explain what I'm thinking. Maybe it's a different style for each one. That's kind of what I was thinking. And these guys all have connections to what's going on here. I'll get to in a bit, or in a future. So the next one I wanted to point out is this. To kick this off, I'm going to just mention briefly that Bob Iger said in February, when the Mandalorian season 2 had just wrapped shooting and they were going into the digital editing, Bob Iger said the possibility of infusing the Mandalorian with more characters and taking those characters in their own directions in terms of series. He's basically saying here, the priority in the next few years is television. He plans to launch characters from Mandalorian to their own series. And we know that characters in season 2 that have arrived are Boba Fett and Ahsoka. And there's plenty of other original characters that could be there as well, but ones that could clearly hold their own franchise, Boba Fett and Ahsoka Tano. Plenty of others I think would do really well. Would be Bill Burr's character, who was his name always evades my mind, but he's the guy that had the shoulder gun, and then there was the Deveronian with him, and the Twi'lek in episode 6 of Mando season 1, the prison break episode. It'll come to me in a bit, but either way, I'm just trying to chat through this so my power doesn't go out on me again and I drop this stream, because that'd be a huge bummer. So anyway, next up on this list, and it's going to tie back with what I said before about Ahsoka Tano, is Ezra Bridger. Now, Ezra Bridger, he is the character from Star Wars Rebels. He was the kid. And at this time for The Mandalorian, he would be a bit older than that. He would be probably a little bit closer to 30, I think. If I'm doing my math right, that'd be about. So, yeah, because I think him and Luke are approximately this. But Ezra would be really cool. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I suck at math in my head, and I'm having a really tough time remembering exact. But with him, he saved the rebels by taking Thrawn and casting him out in hyperspace into the unknown, just like Frozen. Into the unknown, into the unknown. I don't know how that song goes, but that just reminded me of that lyric. So into the unknown, he and Thrawn went out. And guess what? In Mando Season 2, we know that Ahsoka is on a quest to find Grand Admiral Thrawn. This was teased verbally, not just like an Easter egg. It was actually part of the plot. This is what she's doing out here. She's hunting him down. For some reason, probably to find Ezra Bridger. Because if these people are getting their orders from Grand Admiral Thrawn, that means Thrawn knows where he was, probably. And he could probably find a way back to Ezra Bridger. That's probably what she's doing. Obviously, that she's got beef with Grand Admiral Thrawn. For some reason, she seems very intent, but probably to find Ezra, I would guess. Unless something happened to Sabine, which is a huge bummer. But because maybe Sabine went back to fight in Purge, or in the what's it called again? I always forget the name of that. Again, it's come to me like Bill character at a later time. But anyway, this art is insanely good. I believe this one was by Boss Logic as well, and the actor is really good. But also that mission would tie back with Ahsoka because they could go back together. But like here with Ahsoka and Ezra would cause Din Djarin and Baby Yoda to have a common mission, because Ahsoka needs to find Ezra, or actually she needs to find Thrawn, probably for Ezra. But if the Force calls out through Baby Yoda or Grogu, the child, to Ezra, and then they're on a mission to find each other. He's trying to find Grogu, and Grogu's trying to find him. Then their missions just aligned, and now they're going to be trekking together, and she'll probably be teaching him along the way, even though she's not his master. She's not teaching. She'll probably still try to guide him as he's learning, because he's still really young. I mean, he's 50, but he's a 50-year-old child. And so he's going to have emotional tantrums. There's going to be moments where she's going to probably have to step in. So hopefully those missions align. If Ezra is the one that he's seeking through the Force to connect with, then that gives him a twofold mission. Grand Admiral Thrawn can help find Ezra. Ezra's trying to find Baby Yoda, Grogu. And everyone, all the good guys are trying to find Ezra. One of the good guys is trying to find Grand Admiral Thrawn, and Grand Admiral Thrawn can help find Ezra. So it all kind of ties back to Ezra. I think it makes the most amount of sense to me that it'd be Ezra. But again, that would also include my first choice, which is. So let me know what you think about choices 1 and 2. That was a big tangent. It does kind of go in circles a little bit when you're trying to explain the intention for each person. Din Djarin's likely just going to be there for his newly sort of adopted foundling son. It'll be really fun to see what's going to happen there. And it might even lead into Ahsoka getting her own show, and Thrawn being the bad guy there, or she's just going to continue to tag along and be part of Mando until something else happens, maybe with Thrawn. Thrawn might stick around as a Mandalorian villain, and Ahsoka might get into other things. Who knows? Who knows what it's going to be? But the science lab stuff with the Dr. Pershing, who was the sidekick to this guy, and working for this guy, he was suggesting that they're doing all kinds of, and obviously I called this before with the cloning patch. You know, he had the Camino cloning patch inside of the Imperial signet around. It just makes sense. They're experimenting on Baby Yoda for his force powers. It's probably going to lead to dark troopers or some sort of weaponized force powered people. They might not be force users. It might not be like full on Inquisitor status, but maybe it is. Who knows? We might get into some Inquisitor action. Would be pretty cool. Anyways, that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. Next up, we've got. I already showed you guys the future. Oh, the future for television could spin off into its own show. Well, one of the people I think would be a great person to have be the person that Grogu calls out to is Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is alive and well during this time. He is about, what is the age? What is the age? 30? Probably like 30, a little after, maybe in his 30s ish. I think it'd be a great age for a Luke Skywalker story where he's going around to all the ancient temples, specifically Tython being one of those ancient temples, gathering not only artifacts and knowledge about the Force and about the Jedi so he can relaunch the Jedi Order. But it would make sense if Grogu was one of his first students, and then maybe he doesn't stick around as a student forever. Maybe he just gets some training, some knowledge, and then goes off with, I don't know, Ezra, Ahsoka. You can have more than one of these people being around at the same time because they are around at the same time, which is why they're all on this list. So Luke Skywalker, I think, would be a great choice. It would be pretty funny if they went to Tython to do the beacon thing and he was already there. That'd be pretty funny. Like, that actually would be pretty cool. A little bit like, oh man, I wanted to see the baby do the magic hand thing, but at the same time, you just get Luke. That'd be so cool. And Sebastian Stan has to play Luke. I mean, come on, like, look at this. Like, it's uncanny, the resemblance. The only difference is that actors today work out physically a lot harder than actors did back then. Back then, it was just about staying, like, fit and having cool hair. Nowadays, it's like you have to be ripped as well. And Sebastian Stan is pretty ripped. But again, time-wise, it's after Return of the Jedi, so he's had time to train as a warrior, as a Jedi, and so I think it makes sense. I think it'd be pretty cool. It's a nice, neat progression towards ridiculous hero status. And if you needed any more convincing and you hadn't already seen this, I'm just gonna pull this up for you in case you were like, "What? No, you can't recast Luke." You can, and Mark Hamill endorsed it. So Mark Hamill retweeted all of these things to Sebastian Stan, going like, "Are you my son?" And like, they were joking back and forth. They have a really close relationship now because they were like, he's like, "Dude, you totally look like me." Mark Hamill endorsed this. And you can't say the same thing about Harrison Ford and what's his face? What's the name of the guy? I'm so forgetful today. The name of the guy from the Solo film. I don't want to waste it. But anyway, there was not an endorsement there. In fact, he told him walk away from the project, not because he wanted it for himself, but because Harrison Ford doesn't like the role. He thinks it's a curse. And so anyway, Sebastian Stan looks remarkably like Mark Hamill, but he looks like Mark Hamill a little bit older, a little bit more rough around the edges, and an older Luke Skywalker would be a little bit more rough around the edges, but balanced internally, but tougher physically. Like, he's gone through more things. He defeated the Empire, and then now he's been on this journey, this quest, training and rebuilding the Jedi Order. So this is something that I think works really, really nicely. They look a lot alike. I would love to see it. Oh my gosh. So let me know. Oh, and this art came out today too, with a little bit more of that, like, kind of a little bit more of a farm boy style haircut, a little bit more choppy. But again, it's Sebastian Stan. This is not Mark Hamill. It's amazing. It's absolutely uncanny. Looks super, super cool. So I'm pumped. And again, this one's Boss Logic. And I don't know who did this. It could have been, but whatever. Either way, I think it looks fantastic. So you guys tell me what you think about seeing Luke Skywalker be the one that Grogu calls out to on the temple on Tython. And now we get to the nitty gritty. So Spider Monkey 23, did the Mace Windu art for Old Man Mace Windu. You guys have heard of Old Man Logan for Wolverine. In this case, it would have to be, based on the timeline, it'd have to be a really old Mace Windu, but still alive. And the Jedi do have the ability for prolonged life. This is the same reason why the Emperor was. He, again, is a humanoid, but he is able to live so very long because the Force allows him to do this. And check this out. So the aging doesn't apply the same way it does to people that are non-Force users. The opposite is true for clones too. So like people in Star Wars, they age very, very, very differently. Clones have a rapid life cycle. Regular humanoids have a regular human life cycle, as much as a stretched 120 years, probably more likely. If you're in combat, probably 40. And but Mace Windu, being a savage, would just be missing a hand and have all these burns on his face from the lightning. Now, I know what you're thinking, but the Emperor killed him. No, he didn't. So watch this. I'm pretty sure never in the history of Star Wars has anyone died from a fall. Usually they were either stabbed first, or they were shot first and then fell. They exploded and then fell, or something. There might have been a fall involved, but people who fell without having died first don't die. Doesn't happen. So let me prove my point. So this one is a little bit of a softer example, but when they were on Coruscant, Anakin jumps out of this ship or what was it? He jumped off the building super high above, I think it was. Drops way down. Oh no, he's on a ship. He dropped off of a ship moving inside the city. Obi-Wan tries to get underneath him, slows the momentum, and then boom, hits. Now, the odds are pretty strong that would have killed a normal person, but you could say that, oh, it's because he was descending at the same rate as him, so it was a soft landing. Okay, I'll give you that one. But again, keep in mind, the consistency with Star Wars is all the way through. No one dies from a fall. So you've got this. Not dead. Padme out of a moving Republic gunship on the way to fight Count Dooku. This is when Obi-Wan was like, Anakin, come to your senses. And what would she do if she was in your position? That sort of thing. And Anakin's like, she would do her duty. He's like super depressed. She fell out of a moving gunship onto sand. She should have broken several bones and possibly bled internally. That could have killed her very easily, but apparently not. So you can say, oh, sand is soft. It's like, I don't think you've fallen that hard on sand, my friend. But I'll give it to you. Because we got more where this came from. But and then she tumbled and she fell, she rolled. Oh, she rolled with it. Okay, maybe she just loosened her body and let it, like a bike accident. Like if you're on a motorcycle, you just flop, 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 flop. People survive that. Yes, it's true. But so does everybody in Star Wars. So let's continue on. Next on the list is every Jedi ever. Let's start with Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan, he fell from a pretty good height. He hit the platform and then rolled off to this catching position here on the side. So he fell really, really far here. And then he actually hit the platform. I don't have a picture of him hitting the platform, but I've seen this film. And you have too. He hits the platform, then rolls off and grabs it last second. And then he pops back up and then goes back to the fight. And not dead. Doesn't seem to be significantly injured. Falls don't hurt anybody in Star Wars. Next up, Yoda falling. No, I'm just kidding. That's the meme. But Yoda did fall. He was someone who actually fell. So when he was fighting Darth Sidious knocked him out of that courtroom into the chamber of the Senate. And the Senate chamber, Yoda was here clawing for dear life. And then he falls. And again, he's very small. His weight is probably a lot less too. But he is small, so the height is kind of considerable. And that doesn't look like a small drop either. So this amphitheater, he's like over here in the penthouse seats, hanging over the stadium, and Ed Sheeran's playing or whatever, and he's down here, and he drops all the way down to the ice hockey rink at the bottom, and then guess what happens? Then let me see if I have that image here. So remember, he hits the bottom. He's fighting here. Darth Sidious is throwing these platforms at him. They're going at it, and then he gets thrown off and falls really hard and hits the ground. He did get a little bit damaged, but nobody gets significantly hurt from a fall in Star Wars. He hit the ground, then kind of got up, and then and went for the escape. So then he started to escape. And then after he starts to escape, look, he goes down the tunnel, down the hatch, and what does he do yet again? Plunk. He drops right into the passenger seat. He yells shotgun real quick, and Bail Organa's like, all right, let's go. We gotta get these babies out of here. And we don't know if Bail Organa was the one who got the child Grogu out of there, but it would stand to reason if they stopped along the way to get Padme's kids. It's possible. I'm not saying this is it, okay? In fact, I think it's probably someone cooler than Bail Organa, but Bail Organa may have been the one to grab Baby Yoda on the way out. Like if there was like an infirmary or like a daycare for the Padawans that are really, really young, they might have been at a different watch than just right there in the training center for the temple where Anakin could go and, chop them all down like a farmer would, with a scythe. And, sorry to get all graphic. But basically that's what happened. You know, he plunks right on down. He goes from here, whoop, dropped right in. Actually, look, get a little progression here. Whoop, dropping down, and then kaboom, right in the passenger seat. Then he says, drive, hit it. And, you know who else falls without a scratch? Because that was a good drop right there. But here we have Luke Skywalker falling after getting his arm chopped off. I wonder where we've seen that before. Got it. Think about it. Where have we seen it? Mace Windu. Mace Windu got his arm chopped off and fell really, really far. So did Luke. So Luke got his arm chopped off. Kabloom. Blam. Ah, he says, ah, no, you're not my daddy. And he says, then he goes, boom, drop. And he fell. He fell all the way down. And then what happens here? He hits a bar. I don't have a picture of it, but he hits that bar and then just clings to it. And he's all, Leia. And then Leia tells Han, she's like, turn the ship around. I think we got to get going. And he's like, why? And she's like, just do it. So they circle back around. They pick up Luke. I don't have a Funko Pop for Luke. I really want one. But I want the one with the black suit and the green lightsaber. That's my favorite. Because I saw Star Wars Out of Order as a kid. I saw the Return of the Jedi first. And that's my first impression of Luke. And that'll always be my favorite. Until Sebastian Stan comes in with that black suit. So anyway. Leia says, turning the ship around. And then they go get him, and he drops. And again, they kind of grabbed him from there. But he fell so far. Look at this. You can't even see the bottom. Like, well, it's open space here. Maybe you kind of see that. But he drops all the way down, then hits that bar, and then hangs there for. Should be dead. I mean, he's still bleeding out from the cut. Actually, the lightsaber probably cauterized it. So, again, nobody dies from a fall. It doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. And you know what else? Ahsoka. Let's go to the animated series. People still don't die from falls, guys. So look, Star Wars, she fully sky bombs. Like, she should have a wingsuit or a parachute or something. But no, because, first of all, people don't die from falls. Second, Jedi never die from falls. It does not happen. And so you want a more graphic example? Let's go with Chopped in Half Maul, okay? The Chopped in Half Maul, again, the same scene that Obi-Wan was caught in, falling and not getting hurt. He goes right here, he's like, it's just a flesh wound. It's merely a flesh wound. And he's got no legs. And so he goes, whoa, he tumbles down the thing. Look, he's cut in half. And you know what? He lived because it's Star Wars. And all the important characters never die unless you see them dead and buried or they get a Force Ghost. If you get a Force Ghost, then it's completely verifiable. Okay, yeah, definitely gone. So so that's what it is. And this is that scenario. Darth Maul, we know, came back for a very, very long time. And yeah. You don't die from falls. It doesn't happen. You know who else died from a fall after getting electrocuted and then and presumably destroyed? Sidious himself. So the guy that nuked Mace Windu and threw him down a gigantic hole got nuked and got thrown down a gigantic hole as well. So this is, why are we, I don't know why I have to keep going with this, but there's still people in my life that are like, Mace Windu's dead. It's like, oh, he's kind of dead. It's like, not dead. There's no body, there's no proof, there's no Force ghost. Dude, it's seriously. And I know not every Jedi gets a Force ghost. I already know about the training. I know. I get it. But Mace Windu, probably. Come on, seriously. Look at this guy. Look at this handsome devil. He's over here looking as good as this after a fall like that. And yeah, I know, like the sort of what's it called again? It's not. It's cloning? No, it's like stranding or something, DNA stranding or some like that. But basically, he made body doubles. But he's not dead, so he was able to be put back together by the 1980s rock crowd in the that giant Coliseum auditorium or whatever. Nobody dies from a fall. It doesn't happen. Even when it happens, it doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it happened, and then he's like, "Why?" And it's like, "Why? Well, why not?" And then he's back. So that's what it is. So let's just take a look real quick. Everyone in Star Wars has a moment where they pretty much fall for like a long time, including like Leia and Han. They fell down that trash chute, right? Head first, mind you. And they were okay. Not a scratch from it. But this, this, there's no reason why this shouldn't be there. And by the way, you know who else agrees? Mace Windu. So he was asked about Mace Windu, is he dead or whatever, and he just goes, I don't know if I can play it for you. Play it again.
In my mind, I did.
Okay. So I'll leave it there. And I'm not the only one. I mean, everyone who's willing to take a critical look at what we see consistently throughout Star Wars, throughout this fantasy fiction, it's what you get. Like, people don't die from falls. It doesn't happen. And so Mace Windu agrees. I mean, I think I've made my case. I mean, that's not even all the falls. Like, I did a couple quick Google searches for you just off the top of my head. Like, look into it yourself. Like, people do not die from falls in Star Wars. So that's what I'm saying here. So Mace Windu's probably, if he is able to age and not pass from old age, and he just keeps laying low, he could very easily still be alive. And there was rumor about him even being Finn's father. Now, I don't know if that's the case, obviously. But, I mean, that would be a pretty cool plot twist, and it's not that hard of a stretch. It would be really cool to see if Grogu would call out, because it also ties back to another important factor. Grogu is the same age as Vader, as Anakin Skywalker. They were born in the same year. What does that tell us? Well, it makes us assume something. It makes us assume that it's possible, a possibility, that there might not have just been one answer to who the chosen one is. And I know we've all thought through this and explored this because of Rey and what they did with Rey in the sequel trilogy. But let's forget the sequel. Plus, Mando is before the sequel trilogy. So we have two people born at the same time during this time where they're anticipating this prophecy to come true. Mace Windu and Yoda were the two people that were like the big naysayers to Anakin Skywalker joining at the request of Qui-Gon Jinn against their typical rules. They said, Yoda said exactly what Ahsoka said. I sense much fear in you, to Anakin Skywalker. And Mace Windu said he is not the chosen one. Now, why was the discussion that he was the chosen one? Well, we know that the child was on Coruscant at the temple at that time. They actually brought him there as a baby. He was there at the appropriate time, which means that all the Jedi in the council knew about him. Every single one of them. And so when Qui-Gon Jinn, who was outcast from being a council member, even though he was a master, he was not welcome because he believed that Jedi should be caring, they should be loving, and that wasn't a bad thing. That was not compatible with their religious belief. They believed they had to be detached. They had to be untethered by human relationship or interrelationship like that, and or care or compassion, because that's a path to the dark side. But Qui-Gon Jinn was different, and he believed in Anakin, but then he died, and he wasn't able to be that father. And Dave Filoni perfectly wraps this up and summarizes this exact arc for them, for Anakin and for Qui-Gon. But it was funny. It was always funny to me that Samuel L. Jackson was so rigid about it. Like, he is not the chosen one. Why? Because they already had a very, very young Padawan that was there at the temple, Grogu, that was learning and training as he was supposed to be from that early age with no other attachments. But he was starting to build those relationships at the temple with his training. He knew Yoda. And we learned this in The Mandalorian season 2, episode 5. And so for the longest time, I mean, I've even said this theory before as well, that Samuel L. Jackson believed he was the chosen one, that maybe he was supposed to bring balance to the Force because of his Vapad style, where he would tap into dark side emotions, not power, but emotions, in order to draw power from the Force, but not give himself completely over to the dark side, which is why he always had an angry expression on his face. He was Vapad. So he would balance riding the line from the light side into the dark and then come right back into the light. And this was a very dangerous road, but he was a master of it. He was maybe the best. Someone who struggled with it, who was not as successful with it, Quinlan Vos. And we'll talk about him. But Mace Windu's not dead, and I believe that his connection to Baby Yoda is that he believed that if not himself, that the child would have been the chosen one after all. And no coincidence that they were the same age, that Anakin and the child are the same age. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe he's supposed to bring balance to the Force. Maybe they were both supposed to bring balance to the Force. We don't know. So anyway, that's one thought. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about that. The next one on the list is Cal Kestis. So Cal Kestis, you guys probably know because you've probably played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and he's got his handy dandy droid homie BD1. So BD1 is maybe my favorite droid. Love him so much. But Cal Kestis was an amazing character played by Cameron Monaghan. And in the video game, a lot of the humanoid characters were representative of the actor's face and appearance. Because they were all original characters, they could do this. They can get away with that. And so, with Jedi Fallen Order, Cameron Monaghan is Cal Kestis. It looks exactly like him because it is him. They face tracked him. They CGI'd him to be him. So he was literally playing himself, voicing himself, and you're playing as Cameron Monaghan the whole time, and it was really great. I really loved that game. Loved the character. I loved the way he was using the Force learning, and he was a Padawan who survived Order 66. And by the way, spoiler alert for those who play the game, he survives through the end of the game, and so he's still alive. There's no death on record. There's no canonical death for him. He's alive. He exists, and it would be awesome to see Cameron Monaghan play an older version of him. By the way, in the game, he's still supposed to be quite young, like maximum early 20s, I believe. But he could probably play like, I think like, what would that be, like 35, maybe 40. Just some makeup and maybe some facial hair. I mean, he's 27, so he's my age right now. I think I'm almost a year. My birthday hasn't. It's gonna be coming up in a couple. But Cameron Monaghan, 27 years old, and with facial hair, he looks a lot older than he did in the game. Plus, in the game, they kind of they brushed him over, so he looks a little bit like scarred up, but he still looks quite young. However, now he looks a little bit more mature. So it'd be a little easy to just bridge that gap and rough him up with some makeup and just have him play himself. I mean, he's a very, very talented actor. This kid can really act. If you saw him in Gotham playing Jerome, you already know what I'm talking about. Like, he's in The Giver, he's in Shameless, he's in Vampire Academy, he's in a bunch of stuff. But yeah, you can check him out. 6 foot tall. He's got good height. This kid, I believe in Cameron Monaghan. I would love to see Cal Kestis come into the live action. It kind of felt like it was live action in the game because it's so immersive. It does such a good job telling those stories, start to finish, and you just get to be that. So you're walking with him the whole time. It felt almost like, and so I would love to see Cameron Monaghan get a chance to play the live action version, maybe even the mentor of Grogu, that way. And if you get to see him, it's possible that either him or him and this next person, but maybe we also get to see Cere Junda, the mentor, the Jedi master of Cal Kestis. So in the game, Cal Kestis is basically rescued by Cere Junda. Cere Junda finds him and says, "Get in, kid. We're going shopping." No, she says we're rebooting the Jedi Order. I need your help. There's a ton of Padawan younglings, or there's tons of Force-sensitive children all around the galaxy. We need to protect them because the Empire is trying to snatch them up. So you have to go and protect them, and then they're going to try to relaunch the Jedi Order, which is basically what Luke is doing too. So all of this stuff is not only happening like within the same viable frame of time, like 20, 30 years, where they're all alive. There's no death on record for any of these characters. Then it could happen. Any of these things could happen. Plus, she again is played by her actual actress Deborah Wilson. So Deborah Wilson played her a depiction of her, but as Cere Junda. So Deborah Wilson, the actress, Cere Junda, the character, and it looks exactly like her. So for live action purposes, that would plug in directly. So you could go Cameron Monaghan and Deborah Wilson co-starring in this story alongside, their droid, and then I forget the name of the other guy who pilots their ship, but get these two here. It'd be super, super awesome. I would flipping love it. I would love that so much, especially if they got more into like him messing around and with his different powers for puzzle solving. Like doing a puzzle solving show would be really cool. Borderline Legend of Zelda just in Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Super awesome. Okay, so the next one I've got to say, I'm gonna just try to jet through these ones because I don't have a ton to say about a few of these, but this guy is a lot of fun. This is what is his name? Oppo Rancisis. He looks like the Grinch and Santa Claus had a baby snake and grew up and became both of them. And this is who he is. So you can see him in Clone Wars. You can see him in Attack of the Clones. In Attack of the Clones, he's sitting at the Jedi Council here. He's got this gigantic snake body and snake tail. They never animated him in combat, but they did show him here. Now in the books, in the dark, I think it was the Dark Horse comics, which is Legends now. It's not canon. He did die, I believe. I think that's what happened. Oppa Rancisis. The funeral of Oppa Rancisis took place after Master Rancisis died at the hands of his one-time friend Sora Bulk. After Sora Bulk was slain by Quinlan Voss, Voss used his Kiffer abilities to read memories from Rancisis' body to learn the battle plan. Now, the Dark Horse comics are no longer canon, which is a bummer for me because I do love the stories that were told with Quinlan, although they'll probably be able to adopt those if they want to do Quinlan eventually, specifically, but they don't have to take every story if they don't want and just take the character. Now, this was in the legends, but it's not canon. And so, according to canon, there is no death on record. The only thing that we have is a blanket statement that says Darth Vader hunted down the Jedi and killed them, the remaining Jedi. But the remaining is only what you know about, right? Because we know that there's several survivors of Order 66, starting with Kanan Jarrus. We have Cal Kestis. We know about Cere Junda. We know about, well, I'm going to name a few more in a minute because they're on my list. I'll spoil everything. There's plenty of survivors. And so the statement that Darth Vader hunted them down, hunted down all the survivors and killed them it's not true. It's what they believe. So he went on a quest to hunt down all of them and he got what he could. But there were survivors. And so according to legends, we have no death on record for Oppa Rancisis. So he could very well be one of those. So if you want to see giant snake Grinch Santa Claus, train Grogu, well then, hey, we might just get Snake Grinch Santa Claus training Grogu, which would be pretty cool because then it's like Santa training an elf. And I would love that. So let me know if you guys like Oppa Rancisis or if you think he would be a great option as the mentor for Baby Yoda. Now, I don't want to waste too much time on this one. I know almost nothing about this, but we have Knock Med from this book. Let me see. Knock Med from Journey to Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, Force Collector. I know nothing about him except for that he survived. I had to Google this guy, but I wanted to put him out here for those of you guys who might have read the book and you might be aware, just to throw that out there into your memory. Hey, this guy's actually still alive, technically, at this time, because he lives after the fall of the Empire. And he lives after the fall. And what we're dealing with in Mandalorian is 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So that's not a lot of time. And I believe he lived a comfortable amount. I don't think it gave a specific, at least not on a quick Google search. It didn't give me a specific year that he passed away, but I believe that it was after, like it was a little bit well after. So he could very well be alive and maybe we could see him come into play. He has a story like Ahsoka's. He was a Padawan that left the Jedi Order before Order 66. And then when it went down, he went into hiding and then he just, he became a nomad. And so in his story, it plays out a lot like Ahsoka's, where she left right before things got crazy, so he survived. Knock Med is his. So anyway, I'll leave that there for you guys. He might be there. I think this one is a lot less likely, but let me know if you guys think that Knock Med would be a cool one to see in live action. All right, next up, going back to Jedi Fallen Order. This guy, Taron Malicos, he was found by the Night Sisters on what's the planet? Malachor? Can't remember. I can't remember if that's the name of the planet, but I might be remembering that wrong. Might just be because his name sounds like Malicos. But anyway, on the home planet of Darth Maul, where Dathomir, that's it. It's not Malachor, it's Dathomir. Sorry. Malachor is the Sith planet, I believe. But Dathomir is where Taron Malicos retreated to. So he was a Jedi in the Clone Wars. And then when Order 66 happened, he survived, he fled, and he hid himself on Dathomir. And he met the Night Sisters. And he learned their Force magic. And their Force magic is evil. It's dark magic. So he's slowly learning this kind of connection to the Force, he learned the dark side of the Force and became a dark side user using their evil magic. And so they kind of accepted him as their own, as sort of their leader as well. And so he was an outsider, so he wasn't like their real leader, but he was there, and he was also kind of like taking over. You have to fight him and you have to defeat him, but technically the Night Sister, when you beat him, the Night Sister steps in and uses her magic to bury him in the floor in the temple area where they are in that fight scene. You don't really see him die though. That's the thing, is like, so this one I feel like is a little bit more of a tight closed circuit than, for instance, the Mace Windu one, because that one nobody dies from a fall. But in this case, they use their magic to kind of crush him in under the floor, and then he like pulled him down under and then sealed it shut. So it's like he could just be trapped there. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? And maybe he got out after they fled and left. Like, we just don't know. It's presumed he's dead though. I'm pretty sure he's dead, but it wasn't clear. And that's the thing, is if it's not clear, maybe it's possible. So who knows? Maybe Taron Malicos, still being a dark side user, is the one that they call out to. And maybe they get tricked and have to, maybe we're going to see Din Djarin have to fight his way through all kinds of madness on Dathomir. Would be a nightmare, but it would be super, super cool to watch. I would love to see that. Let me know if you would like to see that, and if you think it's at all likely. I think this one on a scale of 1 to 10 is probably a 1. So very unlikely. Anyways, let's go to the next one. Next up is Master Uvel. I know nothing about him except for that technically there's no death on record for him according to canon. So I won't say any more than that. I'll leave it there. I know nothing about this guy. But I did see that he had no death on record. I did a lot of research into, okay, what about this guy? What about this guy? And I saw his name. I was like, what about this? And I just wanted to bring that up for you guys. So do some research for me. Tell me what you know about Master Uvel. I couldn't find anything. Not on a quick search anyway. So let me know what you guys have to say. I thought it would be cool to introduce, if you're going to do Luke eventually, maybe not even in this season, maybe not even in this particular story, but if you're going to introduce Luke as Sebastian Stan eventually, I say bringing Mara Jade back is a great way to introduce that, because you get that lingering remnant of what happened with Mara Jade being the hand of the Emperor. Luke is right around really close, getting close to the time where him and Mara Jade are about to meet, or I believe they might have already met. Like they get married eventually. So it would be really cool to have her connect with Grogu and then eventually connect with Luke Skywalker in that way. So it could be really fun. I don't know. I would love to see that. But let me know what you guys think. I think it's high time we see Mara Jade back here. A lot of people thought at first, let me see, where was it? Where was the the art? Kerry Russell. A lot of people thought that Kerry Russell was going to be Mara Jade. That ended up not. He ended up being Zori Bliss from Star Wars Episode 9. And so that was a bummer. I really thought they were going to do Mara Jade, but it's okay. Like it's fun to have new characters. I mean, like, it's just, I feel like we didn't get to see enough of her doing cool stuff or being significantly relevant. I love Poe Dameron though, and I love that they gave him something in Episode 9, because they ripped him big time in Episode 8. He was my guy, so I really wanted to see. So that was cool. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about Mara Jade. It'd be really cool to see the Hand of the Emperor into canon. All right, guys, let's go. Oh, and I want to show you that close up. Pretty cool. Who doesn't want that pink lights? All right, now the obvious conclusion I think a lot of people are alluding to, but are unsure because they're not sure where canon is going to fall for this one. Because she has a Legends death. She does not have a canon death. So this is Yaddle. This is everyone's presuming right now, or assuming, that this is the child's mother. I don't think that that's correct. It could be though, because one thing that I believe is true is that I think there was a Jedi in the Clone Wars that was, I his species was super rare, so he had to take a leave of absence as duty to his people, to his species, that he had to go and do a cycle of reproduction, basically go have a bunch of babies, and then return to his life of celibacy as a Jedi. And he was supposed to try to do this without any kind of attachment whatsoever. Basically, he doesn't get to stick around and raise his kids either. So, but in this case, Yaddle and Yoda, their species being so rare, it's possible that this might have been the case for Yoda Yaddle. That they had, or maybe not even Yoda, maybe just Yaddle, that she had to reproduce for the sake of her species, for, you know, because they're so incredibly rare. Maybe that's where child came from. So that's one theory. Now, apart from that theory, regardless of motherhood, she could still be a mother figure. And so even if she's not the genetic mother of the child, I think it would be it'd be a pretty cool thing if she was still alive. There is no canon death on record for Yaddle. Let me see here. But legends had her saving the life of Anakin Skywalker, giving her life to protect Anakin. And then that actually convinced him. He was wavering back and forth whether to leave the order. But Yaddle saved his life, sacrificed her own, and that convinced Anakin to stay in the order until he eventually turned to the dark side. And but that was a pivotal moment for him in Legends, and Legends is not canon. And in canon, there's no official death for her. So she's technically, probably, possibly still alive. It would be really cool to see. Maybe she's still around. Now, why Yoda would not have sensed her in episode 5 and 6 makes no sense to me. If she was still alive, where the heck is she? You'd think that Yoda might have sensed her presence, possibly, but you never know. Like, you just simply, you don't know. Plus, Yoda was super, super powerful even back then, during the time of the Republic, but he couldn't sense that Emperor Palpatine was the Dark Lord of the Sith either. So it's not like you can just know everything as a Jedi. You're not omniscient, but you can get senses of things if you are sensitive to what the Force is telling you, or if you're able to. Like, sometimes people use the Force to cloak themselves. It's possible that Yaddle was doing this for her. Or maybe she was captured. Maybe she was captured by the Empire, and maybe they were experimenting on her as well. Who knows? So that's, you know, there's a lot of questions, but I would love it if when said Yoda, when Grogu calls out to the Force at Tython, if they get there, it would be awesome to see if Yaddle is the one that is alive and reaches out to him. It'd be so cool. But we have no idea. So who do you think it's going to be? Is it going to be Yaddle? Is it going to be Cere Junda? Is it going to be Cal Kestis? Is it going to be Ahsoka? Is she going to change her mind? Is it going to be Luke? Is it going to be Mace Windu? I think we covered a couple more people. Mara Jade. And Oppo Rancisis. Oh, here's more images of Yaddle from canon, from Star Wars Episode 1. And then check this out. Oh yeah, and by the way, Cal Kestis and Cere Junda were having a conversation in their vessel, in their ship, in the game. And she mentions a legendary Jedi who was small, very, very powerful and wise and green. And he goes, "Oh, you knew Master Yoda?" And she goes, "What? No, it was Yaddle." She goes, "But Yoda was pretty cool too." And they mentioned Yaddle in the game. So Cere Junda even knew Yaddle. And there was no mention of her death. So that's another thing, is that she was mentioned not to be dead. So if she did die saving Anakin, that was during the time before Order 66 that this would have been on record. They would have known about this. So Cere Junda would have been aware of the death of one of the members of the council. So I don't think she's dead. So that's another thing. So based on what we know about canon from Star Wars. Why do I keep blanking on Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order? Then we know that it's very, very, very likely that Yaddle was still alive during that time, and there's no record of her death either. So this is another possibility. And oh, here's the images. So he says, "Are you talking about Master Yoda? Yes, he is very legendary." And then I don't think I have. Oh, so it says, "Growing up, we heard tales of a pointy-eared legendary Jedi Master," and then he goes, "Are you talking about Master Yoda? Yes, he's very legendary." It doesn't show an image for the next slide because I just couldn't find it in time. But the next slide is where they say, "Oh, what? No, I was referring to Master Yaddle, but Yoda was very great too." Something like that. And so they were talking about Yaddle even there, and no mention of the death of Yaddle at all. So that's all we know, and that's what we have to go on. So still alive apparently. And oh yeah, and this is a slide just in reference before where they're like, there's someone specific you're thinking of, and then it shows, you know, someone added both of these guys because he was thinking of Yoda, but they mentioned Yaddle. So yes. All right, next up we have Quinlan Vos. Quinlan Vos is one of my favorites from the Clone Wars era. I love this guy. I actually got duped a little while ago. I'll show you guys that in a minute. There was a video that came out. It ended up being an April Fool's prank to get Star Wars nerds like me hyped up and then super disappointed, but it was actually really cool. I still appreciate it. But anyway, Quinlan Vos, this guy is a beast. So I'll go ahead and show you this, guys. He's a Kiffer, and they have the ability to connect with your memories or your last memories. So if, like, when, for instance, in Legends, when Oppo Rancisis got killed by his disciple Sora Bulk, Quinlan Vos ended up connecting with the memories of Oppo Rancisis so that he could see what happened, see the strategy of who killed him and how Sora Bulk killed him, and then was able to go and defeat Sora Bulk knowing that he had killed his own master. And so he was able to avenge the death of Oppo Rancisis. But that's Legends. That's not canon. So according to canon, Oppo Rancisis is still alive, and Quinlan Vos, there's no death on record for him. And so it would be super, super sweet to see this guy in live action, for real, not the fake one that gets me all excited and then disappointed. And there's tons of fan art of like Jason Momoa as him. I think I saw one time online of like Boo Boo Stewart playing him. Looks pretty much the same as what you get from the cartoons. And this is the one that I got super hyped on. In fact, I made a whole video on it, like super, super pumped. I was like, dude, it's coming to Netflix. And then I had to make another video because I was like, I got fooled. Because it was an April Fool, and I did not read the dang headline. I got like this far. I was like, Star Wars on Netflix. Oh my gosh, it's playing. And then yeah, and I got joked pretty hard. But anyway, this is like super, super cool. Look, it's on Netflix. Lucas, which is super easy too. But they did this really epic fan created video of like Darth Maul as like a Darth Maul series that was supposed to come to Netflix. Totally fake, not real, but I hope it is. I hope they go back and do it anyway. I hope they go back and choose to do this, because this was IGN, I believe. This was not Netflix. And so but it just looks super, super awesome, really cool. And then it's all, nope, not the real thing. And anyway, it was an April Fool. So I made that video and I had to go like, I am the April Fool, Star Wars Story Fury of Maul live stream. I had to just apologize. Everybody was like, hey, I got duped. 286 views too. So everybody was able to see that. But then, oh yeah. So Quinlan Vos, not dead yet. No death on record. Bring this epic character to life. It'd be super easy to do that. Plus, he's like Mace Windu, where he's a Vapad. He teeters between the light side and the dark side and tries to straddle the line and tries to lean over the fence towards the light when he can. but he uses his ragey emotions to gather power and then go back to the light side. But it's a balance, because when you do that, it sucks you in, and so he ends up having bouts of dark side, because he's not as strong in his spirit or his connection with the light side as Mace Windu is. So he's not as balanced. But anyway, his story is super awesome, and you can get some really cool Sith action here too, because he does tend to lose himself to the dark side. He goes back and forth. Anyways, let me know if you think Quinlan might be the guy that, because he survived Order 66 according to what we know, and there's no death on record, so should still be alive somewhere, maybe even in the Outer Rim. Maybe he's turned to the dark side, but he'll get called back to the light. Be so cool, especially dealing with other characters like Ahsoka, who operate in the gray. They don't go light dark, they just operate in the gray, whereas this guy literally goes light dark, not balanced at all. So it'd be awesome. I would love to see that, their dynamic, how they totally would not get along. It'd be awesome. I'd love to see that. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about Quinlan Vos down in the comments. Is he going to be the guy to train Baby Yoda? I want to see what you guys have to say. I'm going to hit the comments in just 1 second so I can see what you guys are commenting on YouTube. If I can. Here. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and show you guys one last time. This is the video if you guys want to find it. Star Wars on Netflix trailer, Fury of Maul. It's a fake. It's not real. It's not true. But we're going to get some stuff coming out soon. There is actually a fan film that came out 17 minutes long. This one here, I have not seen it yet. I'm going to go watch that. But I'm the April Fool. If you guys want all of my t-shirts, designs, and stuff, I'll remind you guys of this before the end of the episode, but stick around real quick because I'm going to get the live questions going. Your entire store will be on sale December 2nd through the 4th. So if you guys are trying to get some cool nerdy gifts for yourself, for loved ones, for the holidays, my stuff's on sale for this block here. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 16th, 17th, 18th. You can have your stuff mailed to your door right here from my site. 35% off site-wide. Everything is on sale. Everything. So if you want to learn how to do that, you just click on one of my videos, and then you come down here and you click show more. You just go to the link right here in my link tree. And when you do that, it'll take you right here. The first link is my TeePublic store. That's going to take you here, and boom, all my designs are right here. So you can pick one you like. If you like DC, Marvel, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Power Rangers, I've got tons of designs for all kinds of stuff. Star Wars gets kind of greedy with like you'll do something that's totally original, like this right here, just a text, and I come up with the pattern myself, and then they'll go, no, sorry, you can't do that, and the TeePublic will take it down. So if you guys want one of these designs that's up, I would recommend getting it ASAP for 2 reasons. Because Christmas is coming and you're going to want this thing to get to your door within 7 to 10 business days, unless you want to expedite and get it fast. Or you can click here on the Star Wars tab and then check out all my designs, and you can get them. They're no longer $20 for this time on the discount. You get $14 t-shirts. And then you can get other products, mugs, stickers, hoodies, pins, wall art, notebooks, tapestries, pillows, magnets, all kinds of stuff. And so then you just click on one you like, go to this Thrawn one. You can say, you know what, maybe I want this one in hard blue, just so it like all of it's blue, because you like teal or something. It kind of makes it invisible. You get this like funny look, and then when people look really hard, they're like, oh my gosh, is that Thrawn? They're like, yeah, it is. They just mentioned Star Wars in the Mandalorian 5. And then you can just go right here, bam, $14. Get yourself some mugs. Get the mug for this one. I really like the way. And look, 23 hours. You guys better hurry up. Get that stuff before the time runs out. You can't get it for Christmas. The Mythrol. If you guys like that, we got our Mythrol homies right here. Now, obviously, this website does not sell Funko Pops, but what it does sell is T-shirts, mugs, stickers, pins, hoodies, masks, all kinds of stuff. It looks really nice. So you guys can get yourself something cool. And I got this right here. I think I might have been the first person to have a Grogu design on TeePublic. Like as soon as it came out, bam, uploaded. You can check that out. Get yourself one of these Grogu in camo designs for $14. So that's there for you, and hurry up. Otherwise, you don't want to risk it during the holidays, because if so many people are ordering, they might be like, oh, it took an extra day. Like, you would never want that. Now, TeePublic, I've never had that issue before, but I'm just thinking, like, if it's the holiday season and it gets so popular, I just don't like to take. You got plenty of time now because it's only the second. It's third now because it's past midnight. But let me know what you guys think about that down below. Please get yourself some merch that supports my channel, puts some money in my pocket, and gets my kids and my wife Christmas gift. And also helps upgrade the channel, lights, sound, video, that sort of stuff. And also the memberships that I pay for, like my Adobe account, my Google account for my Drive, and all that stuff. I just take care of all that, costing you. Then hopefully, eventually, I can. Yeah, these things are available. Tough as Beskar. This one's a hot seller. This one's been selling a lot lately. Get yourself some Tough as Beskar shirts, and that's it. So I wanted to just say thank you, everybody. And part of this, I'm gonna go over to the live comments now, so that you guys can. So now I'm gonna bring this and head and shift this over here. Okay, now I've got these comments. All right, just getting it set up, and I'll take some comments. Dang, we got some comments here. Okay, so Daniel's Hot Topics. What's up, my dude? It's great to see you. He says first pick for Thrawn is Benedict Cumberbatch. Obviously, dude. I'm so 100% on board with Benedict Cumberbatch as Thrawn. I actually have a list of over 10 people that I think would be absolutely killer awesome for Thrawn, like legit. Benedict Cumberbatch is probably my first or second. He's like really high on that list. And there's tons of great fan art. His cheekbones are like built to be Thrawn's. Like you just got to add the forehead bump like right here. And then you got it. It's like it couldn't be a more simple choice there. But there are some other great names for that too. You say here, Daniel's Hot Topics. My second choice for Thrawn is Pierce Brosnan. Would make a fantastic Grand Admiral. I think that guy would be pretty good too. But you know what? Maybe I'll add him to my list. Maybe you'll see when I do my list. You'll see who makes the cut, who does not. But that's a cool choice. I like that. Daniel's Hot Topic says my third choice is Peter Capaldi. My favorite Doctor. Or he was my favorite Doctor in the new Doctor Who era. Peter Capaldi has like a really narrow face, and I know Thrawn does a little bit as well, but Thrawn still seems to be. I don't think his is as pointy, and I know that aesthetic isn't 100% of everything, because I know Peter Capaldi's a great actor. I can't wait to see him in the Suicide Squad, but I do think that. For the role of Thrawn, I think Peter Capaldi might not be on. I don't think he's going to make my list personally, but that's he's a great actor, and I like him when I see him. I have not watched Doctor Who. I'm not a Doctor Who fan, not because I don't like it, but because I've never seen it. And so yeah, that's all I'll say for Peter Capaldi. But Daniel's Hot Topic says, also Pierce Brosnan was my first James Bond. I remember when I walked into Jumbo Video back in 1997, and I picked up my first James Bond episode, Tomorrow Never Died. And this is probably gonna shock you, maybe a bit to your core. I've never seen a James Bond film. So I plan to eventually watch all of the James Bond. I know there's a ton of those. What is it, like 27 or something like that? I plan to eventually get to those, but it was just not something that we had in my house. In like my parents' house growing up, we always watched like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. I was always watching Power Rangers, Spider-Man, everything Marvel, like all kinds of. I was watching tons of cartoons. I spent way too much time watching TV. So movies were not something that we were like actively going out to see. Something that looked super appealing to me as a kid, and my mom was willing for me to watch. And I think for her, it was like He didn't want me watching like he didn't want me watching things that were outright killing. You know what I mean? Like if you like, I don't know. The standard was a little bit back and forth because like I watched Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? So it's like it was weird, but like I just didn't have control over that as a child growing up. So by the time I was like in junior high school, I was like, all my friends had seen it. I hadn't seen it, but nobody had it on DVD. So it was like, go buy all of them. You know, I don't have any money. I was like, okay. So that's where I'm at with James Bond. I want to love it. Oh, actually, I do love it because of the video games. I played the video games. See, this is another inconsistency. Is I could play the video games. I couldn't watch the movies, right? Funny. It's just funny things. So anyway, Daniel's Hot Topic says, so when Mando goes to the planet Tython, which is a planet which has one of the first Jedi temples from the Old Republic, so people are excited. Yeah, absolutely. I love the Old Republic. I played the game. I never like played the game through to any degree of completion. I got to like the third or fourth planet before I had to quit my video game addiction. It was like my entire life was at the time. So like I quit playing. I think I was playing that. I was playing Warcraft 3 or 4 times a week with friends for hours on end. And then World of Warcraft was what I would do when I was alone as well. So I was video gamed out, and I eventually had to be like, okay, I'm going to stop playing video games for 2 years. And I did, but that's why I didn't get super, super far. But you can watch the old Knights of the Old Republic trailers, like the clips from the game as a movie. They have it on YouTube. Just type in Knights of the Old Republic cutscene movie, and it'll be like 23 minutes or something, maybe even 30 minutes, and watch that all the way through. It's amazing. It's just beautiful. And they're calling back to this because they're going to go to that planet. Now, it's not going to be way back then. They're not going to do it back then. But they're probably going to be building towards a project that's going to take place in the Old Republic. It would be really cool to get something from that time frame. No one's really excited for the High Republic that Disney's trying to push. They took a step back from that, by the way. They were pushing it hard. Everyone rejected it. So they were like, okay, just kidding. And now I think they're going to try to go back harder on Knights of the Old Republic because of how people are excited. Obviously, that's like how you make money. And so it says, Daniel's Hot Topic says, so I think when Mando takes baby Grogu to Tython and he takes Grogu to the top of the temple and he sits on the stone, gets a huge Zen Kai power boost. Yeah, he's gonna basically power up and connect to the Force. And Dana's Hot Topic says, so baby Grogu gets a huge Zenkai boost, and then he calls out to the remaining Force users in the galaxy. I really hope we get to see Luke Hamill could return. Mark Hamill could return, but I don't think he will because the age would not make any sense. I mean, they've been able to do like de-aging effects. That's totally possible. But why would they do that when Mark Hamill already endorsed Sebastian Stan playing him as a younger version? And he looks exactly like him. Plus, Sebastian Stan's a fantastic actor. I would love to see Luke Skywalker. It'd be so cool. To me, that would be the better choice because our minds can see and separate when we see something real and when we see something that's fake. Like, even if it's a really good fake, you still know it's a fake. Like, there's always something that doesn't sit right. Like, our brains just know. And so if we have to watch episodes or a whole show like that, it's gonna get odd. And I think that for me, I'd prefer to have Sebastian Stan do it. But that's just me. I love Mark Hamill. I just think that he endorsed it, so I endorse it. And plus, it just makes a lot of. Daniel's Hot Topic says they have been de-aging. Yeah, okay. So I spoke ahead of what I was reading here. They have the de-aging tech. They use it in X-Men: The Last Stand. They use it in Terminator Salvation, Terminator Genesis, and Rogue One. And in the tech looks better and better each time as it goes on. Yeah, I agree. I agree that it looks better and better every single time, but it doesn't. I mean, you're gonna take a guy that's in his, what is he now? 60 playing a 30-year-old or like a 35-year-old. You know, it just, I don't think it's gonna, you're doing a lot of work there with the computer. And plus it's like, be awesome to see. Daniel's Hot Topic says, no, Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker. No. Bring back Mark Hamill and use the cool de-aging tech. It's been perfected. I think it's not perfected. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But Sebastian Stan. And you know who agrees with me is Mark Hamill. So that's what I'm saying. Daniel's Hot Topic says, OMG, Mace Windu is still alive because, as Samuel L. Jackson said, we did not see a body, and in sci-fi, we don't see a body. They're still alive. 100%. I totally agree. That's exactly right. Like, you can't assume someone's dead. That's not how storytelling works. You don't assume someone's dead. Find out if they died. If you didn't, status quo. And frankly, status quo is he's missing an arm, and he's probably lost the use of his right eye. From the lightning. So we'll see what happens. But nobody dies from a fall in Star Wars. It doesn't happen. So that's my take. Not even Palpatine himself, apparently. And so let's see, where am I? Daniel's Hot Topic says the Kenobi series was supposed to start filming in March, and now it's pushed back to January 2021, so just over a month. People say that Mandalorian sucks. They say it's so inconsistent. I don't know why. No, I think people are contrarians. Like they see something that's good and they're like, you know what? No. They're like, I don't want to be like excited about that. I'm just gonna poop on it. And people just do that. Like that's part of how people are. If they feel that everyone's just going in one direction, oftentimes we like, maybe there's a reason why I shouldn't. You know, like sometimes it makes us cautious when everyone's doing one thing, because it's not how people work. Like if everyone started selling t-shirts, and I mean everyone, if everyone on YouTube was selling t-shirts, I might be like, maybe I should sell jeans. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like, I'd probably have a better chance doing something else. And like you just kind of like, you start to adapt, not with the flow, but in cooperation with the flow for your own benefit, right? And so like I think it makes people interesting, or it makes them feel interesting when they're contrarian. But I don't see what they mean by inconsistent. Mando's been nothing but consistent. I've heard one complaint that it's like, oh, he's like every episode he has to find some new information, and he goes to somewhere to find it, and then it's not the thing, and he has to go somewhere else to get the information. Yeah, that's called hunting, or that's called detective work. Like, you have to go and figure it out. Like if they say return this kid to his homeworld, but we don't know who he is, we don't know his name, we don't know where he came from, we don't know his planet, we don't know his species, good luck. And by the way, no one else does either. You're gonna have to ask a lot of the same questions to a lot of people in sequence. So like I think it makes perfect sense. That was a complaint that I had heard from somebody where they were like, oh, I heard from someone they weren't gonna watch it because their friends were saying that about the show. And I was like, dude, just watch the show for yourself. And the person was like, it's fine, do what you want. But Mando freaking rocks, and I love it, and it's awesome, and it's making Star Wars great again. And and you can take that to the bank. It's awesome. Like, and there's I think what did John Campea say? I think it was like the top or the second top highest rated show of all time, or something like something crazy achievement. I'll look into what that was specifically. But it's doing really well. In fact, I would argue it's single-handedly keeping Disney Plus alive. But anyway, that's just me. And in the time frame where nothing's coming out in theaters, it's literally keeping Disney alive. The parks aren't even open. So it's like Christmas season is going to buy a bunch of toys. That's fantastic. But Mando is selling like hotcakes. And then I got to wrap this up because we've been going for almost an hour and a half. In like 6 minutes it'll be. So I'm going to just jet through a few more of these, and then I'm going to call it, all right? So slow it down on the comments. because then I'll be able to finish. I'm really grateful that my live stream has lasted this long because it died. I blacked out on the all my power just went out. So I was like, oh no. Oh, and I have coffee here. A message to everyone who buys a t-shirt. I'm yours. Okay, so then it says here, Daniel's Hot Topic says, I think The Mandalorian is great. Dude, you and me think so much alike. Except for apparently on the Luke Skywalker issue. Daniel's Hot Topic, but that's fine. Daniel's Hot Topic says, also in episode 9, they were talking about the new threat to the galaxy from an unknown regions, and I read articles that said it could be the Chiss ascendancy after episode 9. Very, very likely, especially because what happened at the end of Rebels? Ezra Bridger shot into hyperspace into the unknown regions with a Chiss, and the Chiss being Grand Admiral Thrawn. And who did they say they're referencing right now? In episode 5, she said, "Take me to your leader. Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?" And then what is Baby Yoda going to the temple on Tython to do? To look for a new mentor? Well, one of the most viable options for that ties in with almost everything else they're doing there in the show is Ezra Bridger. And he's in the outer regions, or the unknown regions, and he was last seen careening into the unknown regions at hyperspeed with those gigantic whale octopuses. Forget the name. With Grand Admiral Thrawn. So it all comes back together. The Chiss uprising. That would be awesome. I would love that. Plus, it'd be really easy for Thrawn to leave the Empire if they think he's dead. But someone out there doesn't think he's got to be alive somehow to somebody. Otherwise, the lady that had the Beskar spear, she wouldn't have been taking orders from him. So, or maybe she just knew where he was last. So apparently he's her person. So then Daniel's Hot Topic says, so there will be Star Wars movies or series after episode 9 potentially. Palpatine survived once, it's possible he survived again. Yeah, I really do think, honestly, that anything's possible at this point. Now, I personally, I have scrubbed episode 9 from my brain. Like, I remember it still, but I have decanonized it in my head. Disney themselves has been rumored that they are decanonizing episode 9. Possibly even episode 8. I think it'd be fine to keep episode 6. I'm sorry, obviously 6. 7. I meant 7. 7 wasn't that bad. I liked 7. It was just, it felt like such a carbon copy of the original trilogy. Maybe you want to toss that out too. Keep a few of the characters within the timeline, but change the events in that timeline to a Chiss uprising and do something a little bit different. That'd be awesome. And then so it says, so there will be Star Wars. Oh, we read that. Muhammad Raihan Jailani, I think that's how I said it. Hopefully I said that correctly. He said epic. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I hope you liked the video. I got a lot more of these coming down the pipe. And I'm going to be doing more of these spoiler discussions for Mandalorian, because I really love talking about this stuff, if you didn't know from this hour and a half I've been talking. But I appreciate you saying that thing. And get yourself something nice for Christmas. T-shirt, mug, link in the description, 35% off right now. Thank you, and I appreciate you. If you don't have the money, do the free 5. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications by clicking the bell. Be awesome. I appreciate you. And Caroline says, cool. And I say you're cool, Caroline. Thank you so much for commenting. Daniel's Hot Topic says, by the way, I was 10 in 1997. When I got 007, Tomorrow Never Dies. Do that game, dude. Or there was, what was the game? It was GoldenEye. GoldenEye was freaking awesome. Daniel's Hot Topic says, oh, no, I hear that Dave Filoni may retcon the sequel. I hope they do not do this. I don't think it's Dave Filoni doing the retconning. He would not have the authority to retcon anything unless Disney approved it. So everything that they're doing on The Mandalorian is their own story. It's their own writing, but they still have to have it approved. That's the thing, is like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are working together with Kathleen Kennedy, but she's basically taken her hands off and said, hey, you guys know Star Wars. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be watching, but yeah, make your stories and just run everything past me, okay? Like, she's still in charge. So she does get credit for The Mandalorian in part. But the bigger part of that is that Dave Filoni is the creative mind behind it, along with Jon Favreau. Or I think Jon Favreau technically is the main, but partnered with Dave Filoni, of course. So John and Dave, I tweeted both, what was it? Instagram messaged both of those guys today. I was like, hey, thank you so much for your service. I appreciate it so much. It's making my holidays even better. And so that's what I told him. I was like, so I don't care really if they retcon the sequel trilogy, because what they did to my boy Luke in the sequel trilogy was a nightmare. They treated him like garbage. And I've talked about this before. I will go into details if you guys want about my feelings and how they got hooked by the Disney era. It's not just Disney, it's sequel trilogy specifically, because I love Rogue One, I love the Clone Wars, I love Rebels, I love Mandalorian, I really liked Solo a lot, and I liked The Force Awakens. So the only two that I had a problem with really was The Last Jedi and what's it called, The Rise of Skywalker. Those two they sucked. So in my opinion, I only really have a problem with 2 Disney era projects. I've got nitpicks in some of the other projects, of course, but I don't dislike those other projects. I only dislike The Last Jedi and The Skywalker. So, and I dislike The Last Jedi more, oddly enough. Even though it's a better standalone film, what they did to the characters in that film was like unforgivable to me. I could not believe it. And so anyways, the Daniel's Hot Topic says, still waiting for Mandalorian season 1 to come on to DVD. I agree. I want to buy Mandalorian on Blu-ray, DVD. I want the hard copy, and for 2 reasons. One, I'm a collector, so I like to collect things. You can see from the wall behind me. There's some gaps there, but it's because I got like 20 Funko Pops on my desk right now, so I could do this. So, hey, look what I got. I just got this one with the Darksaber, Moff Gideon. So, hey, you know what I got? I got the Gamorrean fighter from episode 1 of season. Look, I got this golden Boba Fett. You know, I can show you all these things. So I just pulled them down real quick so I could show you for the sake of the video. And then Daniel's Hot Topic says, let's see. Go. Oh yeah, and the second reason I would want to collect DVD or Blu-ray is because if Disney decides to change something that we find meaningful or important, and it gets changed down the line, you need to have a physical copy. Otherwise, on streaming, they're going to take it down and replace it with the one that they want. So like all the George Lucas changing things over time, we might not even know about it if people didn't have physical copies, because they could just change it and walk away and never talk about it again, as if this was what it was all along. But history matters. What happened, how we saw things originally, how we see things, that matters. So we have to be able to retain that. And because nobody owns anything anymore, if, for instance, and I'm not picking on anybody, I'm not calling anybody any names, I'm not putting anybody down, I'm just making an observation about something that happened recently, okay? So like, everyone can take a chill pill. But Ellen Page, who we knew our entire lives as Ellen Page in all of our favorite movies and TV shows, great actress, was Ellen Page. And now Netflix is changing her credits in all the film to Elliot Page, which is the name she chooses now, which she was neither born with nor worked with for the last 30 years or however. So if you don't have a physical copy, people can change things on streaming and you'll just have to deal with it. So if they want to take a character out and make them different later, they can do that, and you have no say about that, and you'll never see that ever again. If you like what you see, frankly, buy it. You know what I mean? Don't rent it. Stop renting. Buy. Because then you can watch it forever and ever and ever, and you don't have to pay to rent it again, but you also get to keep the copy. You get to save the file. You know what I'm saying? So like that stuff matters. So I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I'm not trying to do like, oh, like hate on somebody or hate on anybody for any reason or whatever. None of that. Just pointing out one thing that's happening right now as an evidence for why buying physical media matters. So, because if George Lucas wants to change Jabba the Hutt from a physical prop to CGI, and you don't like how that looks, but they do, if you want to have any say in that, you need to buy the physical copy, because buying it secures it in your hand for as long as the life of that item, as long as you take care of your stuff. So that's what I'm saying about that. Now, Daniel's Hot Topics, last 2 comments. This is all I'm going to take. It says, I am saving all my money for Christmas, but it's so hard to save because I got to spend, because I'm always hungry, and because of my depression. Oh, by the way, thanks for being here. You helped me with my depression. Hey man, everyone struggles with depression, feeling down. Like even people who are generally more happy, if you don't have that, if you don't have a sense of like of purpose, this is what I want to, not only this is what I want to do, but a sense of self-worth. You know what I'm saying? God loves you. God loves me. Loves every single one of us. Everyone who's watching this video, God loves you. He does. And if you're struggling, everyone's struggling in 2020. If you just ask someone, hey, you doing okay? How's it going? Seriously, how you doing? You'll get a real answer. And guess what? Everybody is struggling. Everybody is struggling. But you know what that means? That we're all here for you. You know, we can all be here for each other. So I'm here for you, man. And you know what? You tuning into my live streams, it makes it fun for me. Like when I was starting out, I'll tell you guys a quick story before I hang up. The first year of doing YouTube, I was really excited because I was learning so much about YouTubing and streaming and all that stuff. And it was helpful skills and development. It was so fun to just practice editing. After a couple of months, when I still didn't even have 100 subscribers, I was really bummed because nobody was tuning into my videos. Like I was not getting any comments. It was so rare, and it was very discouraging. And I know this is just one thing. It's not like life in general. Yeah, I don't, I'm not trying to just compare it to depression. But what I am trying to show is that I persisted and I kept going, and I kept working, and I kept growing, and I just found that I didn't care as much about the editing. What I wanted to do was talk with people like you, Daniel's Hot Topics, and I wanted to say, hey, like, there's people that are like me that have way too much knowledge about Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and Power Rangers and DC and Godzilla and James Bond and Doctor Who, right? And then, but if you don't have someone who wants to hear and listen, then it's like, what do you do with all that? Is it just wasted knowledge? Is it wasted time? But for me, when you come in and tune into my live streams, it makes me have fun here. Then I get to bounce back and forth with you. I get to hear your thoughts. Then I get to say, oh, that's awesome, dude. I totally love that. Or yeah, you know what? It would be a shame if they decided Mace Windu is dead. They should totally bring him back because he's not, they never buried him. There's no body. He just fell, right? So it's like, and everybody loses an arm in Star Wars eventually, right? So it's like, we get to bounce these ideas back and forth off of one another. And that I love it so much. So I appreciate you. And I thank you so much for joining my channel. Don't worry about buying a t-shirt either. Like if you want to get yourself something nice, the site's always there. So it's going to be there. But what I value is your comments. Keep the comments coming. And thank God that's free, right? So we can always talk that way. It's going to be awesome. I don't know how to use, I have to admit, I don't know how to use, what's it called? Discord. So I need to get proficient with that. That's something I have to learn. And then once I do that, I can start to create a community on Discord where we can all hang out and talk. And it would be cool to even maybe eventually start playing games. That'd be fun because I do love gaming, and it would be really fun to maybe get into that. But I would probably only want to do that if my wife was willing to do that with me. She likes to play games too, DC Universe Online, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. We played for a little bit together, and there's a few other games that we play like Blizzard's Heroes of the Storm. Just a couple of games, not a lot of games, but it would be fun to maybe do some hangouts of that stuff there as well. And just keep hanging on, bro. Depression comes to everybody for different reasons at different times. But I will say, if you find your value in something that is not temporal, not something that can just go away, not something that can move or shift depending on your situation or your circumstance, it'll be constant. That will change your perspective, not only yourself, but on life. And that's a very powerful thing. Never base your worth on anything that can fade, that can die, or can lose. Base your worth on something, and that would be my advice to you. I think I've spoken very openly on my channel about my faith, and I love Jesus, and this is something that is very powerful and meaningful to me. So you can, I don't know what your beliefs are, but you can know Jesus too, and that has changed my life. It changed the life of so many people around me, people that were like in gangs and hurting other people and living very, very nasty, bad lifestyle. And they turned around and changed. And because they found this hope of eternity, they put their value in something that was not short term, something that wasn't destructible. They found their purpose and their value in Christ. And that's something that nobody can take away from you. It won't shift depending on your situation. So it's a constant anchor. And so I would encourage you to maybe give that a thought, and maybe even take it to prayer and meditate on that. Just see, explore it for yourself. So that's what helps me out. I'll tell you that. And I care about you, bro. You're one of my favorites, dude. You're always here. And it does feel very nice that your name is Daniel's Hot Topics, and you always have the hot topics for me. My name's Daniel, so that works for me. So I appreciate you, and I'll take this last one here. It says, if they erase the sequels, they erase Mark Hamill's final appearance as Luke Skywalker. Well, that's not necessarily true, because they could actually have him appear as older Luke in The Mandalorian to the younger Luke reaching through the world between worlds. That might be possible. Or even in a vision. Could be in a vision too. You never know. There's always a way. There's always a way to make that work. So, and I think Mark Hamill would definitely come back for The Mandalorian, because he already has. He came back as a droid in that cantina where he lent his voice to that droid. So he's already come back in Star Wars, just not as Luke Skywalker, because he didn't want to let Disney ruin Luke any further. He was talking about this himself. And so he hated the way that the sequels treated Luke Skywalker. I hated the way that Luke Skywalker was treated in the sequels. And then he said he was done as Luke Skywalker because he didn't want to sign up for any more Luke stories, because he knew they were going to ruin it. But Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are not going to ruin it. Those guys know what the heck they're doing. And lastly, also, if they stop producing physical media and it's only going to be streaming, that would be bad, because by doing this, they are holding the media hostage. Let me read that again real quick. If they stop producing physical media and it's only going to streaming, that would be bad, because by doing this, they're holding the media hostage. That's true. So they will have a monopoly on what you get to watch. Like if they decide one day nobody gets to watch Disney, bam, they shut it off. You have nothing unless you have a physical copy and a DVD player or something. So, or a digital download. You have to own something. If you don't own it, you don't have anything, because they can take their ball and kick it back over the fence where no one can play with it. You know what I'm saying? So like, you're right. Like, buy the DVD. I encourage people to buy the DVDs. I like to collect. I just put some new shelves up. I've got more storage now. But yeah, so anyway, this has been a super fun live stream, but I do have work tomorrow. I got to get going. Anyways, you guys rock. Let me just cut out really quick to my end screen. Okay. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys like what you've seen, please make sure to hit the like button. Sorry, my voice just went out. Hit the like button, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Those 5 free things are going to help my channel grow and get to 1,000 subscribers so I can start making money out here on YouTube and support my family and also grow the channel. If you guys like the mugs you see down there in the corner, make sure, and the t-shirts and stuff, click the link in my description so that you guys can go to my TeePublic store and then check out all of my designs. I've got over 300 designs, and I'm constantly uploading more. I'm working on more as we, not as we speak, but before this video I was working. And I'm a big nerd like you, so I make big nerd designs. So that way we can all have fun with our favorite shirts and stuff like that. Our favorite actors who play different characters. Let me know what you guys want. If you guys want to recommend a design for me, or you just say, hey, I really like this, can you make me a t-shirt? Bam, I'll make you a t-shirt. Put it back in that comment. Link there. Get yourself some merch. I'll freaking make it for you. That way you guys can have the merch you want. Anyways, I appreciate everything you guys do and say. So, final question of the day is, who is going to be the master to baby Yoda, or as we now know him, Grogu? So Grogu is going to get his master. I want you guys to tell me, out of everybody on this big old honking list, who is going to be the master that gets called out to from the Tython temple at the top of the temple by Grogu and by Din Djarin. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say. I can't wait for Mando's episode this week and next week. And I'll be making more videos about this as it starts to come out, because I'm freaking loving this. And I'm super excited about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate all the comments from everybody. Muhammad, Caroline, Daniel, everybody. I appreciate you. Take care, guys. And have a good night. I'll see you next time right here on this stuff.